Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe to our show on your preferred podcast platform and write a review. Those reviews help the show. Also, follow the GSMC Music Podcast on Twitter at GSMC_music. Now, let's get into some music news. The Neptunes are reuniting full-time. Chad Hugo and Pharrell Williams are the dynamic producing duo behind 24 Billboard Hot 100 Top 100 hits during the late 90s and 2000s. The two never broke up, they were just less active as a duo. Obviously, Pharrell took off and became mainstream with hits like Happy from the Despicable Me 2 soundtrack and Being on The Voice. And Hugo has always been the man behind the curtain. But in a recent interview with Clash, Hugo revealed the two are working together on a more permanent basis. They are working on a video game soundtrack and recently did some work with Miley Cyrus, Jay-Z, Blink-182, Lil Uzi Vert, Brandy, Ray J, and G-Eazy. In 2009, Billboard ranked the Neptunes number 1 on their list of top 10 producers of the decade. In 2019, the Neptunes were nominated to the Songwriters Hall of Fame as part of the 2020 class. Now, personally, I love me some Neptunes. Back in that time, late 99 or late 90s, early 2000s, for me, when it came to production and producers, it was all about Timbaland and the Neptunes. I was on Timbaland for a while, he was there first, and then the Neptunes came out with these like space sounding, like just super dope beats, and it's like, who are they? Who is this? Plus, it didn't hurt that both Pharrell and Chad are fine. For me, I personally had the biggest crush on Chad, even, would cut out pictures of him from magazines, but they made hits like Mace, Look at Me, Why You Over There Looking at Me, Why My Girl Standing Here, and Clips, When's the Last Time, Top Down, Chrome Spinning. But my fave Clips and Neptune song is Grindin', with the teenage girls Harlem shaking their little hearts out in the video. Then there are the tracks on my girl Khaleesi's Kaleidoscope album, Caught Out There. Yo, 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 yo. This song, yo, is for all the women who've been lied to by their men. And I know y'all been lied to over and over again. Yes, the Neptunes for sure have some classics. And a classic Neptune sound. If the beat sounds like it came from outer space, it's probably because it came from the Neptunes. It looks like Rowdy Rich may be one of 2020's breakout stars. The young rapper's The Box now sits atop the Billboard Hot 100 chart after a heated chart battle with Justin Bieber. Just as The Box rose to number 1, his Mustard collaboration, High Fashion, made a huge leap of its own, jumping 35 slots to land at number 35 on this week's Hot 100 chart. Now, it's his third top 40 hit as a lead artist. On a more serious note, hip-hop icon Russel Simmons is not only being accused of rape, but there is apparently a documentary being made that is scheduled to be released at this year's Sundance Festival. Drew Dixon, Cille Abrams, and Alexia Norman Jones sat down with CBS this morning and detailed how the mogul allegedly raped them. Dixon worked for Simmons in 1995 when she said he allegedly attacked her. I literally worked for him. He was ordering me a car and told me to come upstairs and pick up a demo. I thought I would be in his apartment. I thought I would be in his apartment for 5 total minutes. That's it. And he showed up naked, wearing a condom, and tackled me to his bed while I screamed and fought and said no and cried. That's rape. Jones said that she knew Simmons before he was famous and that he raped her on their first date in 1991. This was a very swift attack. And what's going through my mind more than anything was why? Because I liked Russell. And I would have just kissed him. I would have made out with him. I would have. He didn't have to attack me, she said. He raped me right up against the effing wall. She actually said the real word. Excuse my language. But that's what he did. I had to keep this secret. Now, Simmons has denied all allegations of non-consensual sex. Dixon explained why she was hesitant about going public with her accusations against Simmons, who co-founded the record label Def Jam. Black people have very few heroes to spare. Not many of us get to the level of success of a Russel Simmons, which is why I was so proud of him, Dixon said. He is a media mogul. He has millions of followers. I have like 1,000. And he is using all of that muscle to try to drown out our voices. Now, this is a sad story for me because Dixon is right. Black people have so few heroes, especially living heroes. And I had a phase in my life where all I rocked was Fat Farm shoes, which was his brand, and his ex-wife lines, Baby Fat. But certain men have gotten away way too long, living reckless without any regard to the mental and spiritual damage they are doing to people they force themselves on. So black, white, or whatever, use your voice and tell your story. Now let's move on to some lighter news. 25. There have been 25 James Bond movies. No Time to Die being the 25th. Breakout artist Billie Eilish is confirmed to perform the theme song. Future and Drake are back again with another collab, Life is Good, which is listed as Future's single. There seems to be a few Drake references that allude to his beef with Pusha T and Kanye West. Genius speculates that the Drake line about his release date refers to a combo he had with Kanye prior to Drake's Scorpio album release. Drake says he revealed the release date to Kanye. Then he wakes up one morning to the news that Good Music would be dropping weekly projects around the same time Scorpio was supposed to drop. There's a visual available to Future and Drake's Life is Good. Now we're going to take a quick break and be back with more music news.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. Let's continue on with that music news. Mac Miller's estate released his first posthumous single, Good News. If you're like me and are not familiar with the term posthumous, it means the song was published after his death. Mac died in September 2018 and was working on the album now entitled Circles when he passed. Circles was supposed to be a companion piece to his last album, Swimming. His estate put out the following words. At the time of his passing, Malcolm was well into his process of recording his companion album to Swimming entitled Circles. 2 different styles complementing each other, completing a circle. Swimming in Circles was the concept. He had been working with John Bryan, who, after hearing some early versions of the songs, cleared his calendar to help Malcolm fine-tune them. After his passing, John dedicated his time to finishing Circles based on the time and conversations with Malcolm. If you are interested in reading the entire statement, it is available on Genius. The single Good News has a lyrical video as its companion. After releasing Rare last week, which is on track to debut at number 1 on Billboard's 200 album charts, Selena Gomez says she is in the happiest place she's ever been at in her life. She hasn't released a new album since 2015's Revival, and in the interim, she battled lupus, underwent a kidney transplant, made headlines for her relationships with fellow pop stars, and opened up about her struggles with anxiety. In an interview with Billboard, Gomez discusses her new album and new self-growth. What? I am extremely excited about this news. March 6th. That's right. Save the date. March 6th, Mandy Moore drops her first studio album in 10 years. Depending on your age, you may only know Mandy as Rebecca Pearson on the hit TV show This Is Us. But I know her as a teen pop star driving the green bug and dancing in a skate park while singing, I'm craving for you, I'm missing you like candy, in her popular 1999 song, Candy. The 10-track album, Silver Landing, is a huge departure from the Mandy I once jammed. This collection was recorded live to tape with a full band in the same studio in LA, and produced by longtime collaborator Mike Viola with husband Taylor Goldsmith and former Riley Kiley member Jason Bozell. I wanted to make a very California-sounding record, something that feels sunshiny and airy and natural, something you could listen to driving up and down the PCH with all the windows rolled down on a beautiful weekend day. Moore said in an interview with Billboard. Not quite sure what PCH is, and I live in California. Maybe it's a Southern California thing. But anyways, I distinctly, yes. Sometimes I say words and I'm like, is that how you're supposed to say it? But I remember that 90s, early 2000s golden pop era of teen girls, Jessica Simpson, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, and Mandy Moore. Now, music-wise, Mandy was the less successful one, but her transition into movies like A Walk to Remember is where she really shined. And she has been able to stand the test of time with her acting skills, something her counterparts don't have on their resume. Movie producers were not coming for Britney Spears after Crossroads, but they came for her co-stars, Zoe Saldana, who was famous for Avatar, Star Trek, and Guardians of the Galaxy, and Taryn Manning, who moved forward and did Hustle and Flow and Orange is the New Black. And we never saw Christina Aguilera star in a movie again after Burlesque. Now, my favorite Mandy movie, our favorite movies were Saved with Macaulay Culkin and American Dreams with Hugh Grant and Dennis Quaid. This is just one of them days, y'all. So right now she is killing the game alongside her amazing ensemble cast with This Is Us. That show makes me weep every freaking time. It's the editing and that damn tug at your heartstrings music. There are absolutely stunning images of Jennifer Lopez channeling Madonna in a photo shoot for guests in Marciano's worldwide campaign. The Hall of Fame class of 2020 will be inducted on May 2nd at the 35th Annual Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The 2020 class includes Depeche Mode, the Doobie Brothers, Whitney Houston, 9 Inch Nails, the Notorious B.I.G., and T-Rex. Depeche Mode and 9 Inch Nails were previously nominated. They each get in on its third try. The rest are first-time nominees, with Biggie having been eligible for the first time. Now, despite winning the fan vote, Dave Matthews Band will not see induction in 2020. Now on to the Grammy Hall of Fame. Recordings that have been recently inducted included Public Enemy's 1988 album It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, which failed to receive a single Grammy nomination, but is now widely viewed as a classic. And in the hip-hop community, it was always a classic, just like Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, which spotlighted the group's music. Neil Diamond's 1969 smash, Sweet Caroline, Good Times Never Seem So Good, which additionally was passed over in the Grammy nominations during its time, but has long been a sing-along favorite. Recordings that were celebrated during its time included Eurythmics' 1983 synth pop smash, Sweet Dreams Are Made of These, which clinched the duo a Best New Artist nomination that year. Nancy Sinatra's 1966 smash, These Boots that was in the Sweet Dreams tone. Let's try that again. These boots are made for walking. There we go. So one of the first songs with a strong feminist edge to become a mainstream pop hit. It was also inducted. It's the first induction for Sinatra, whose father, Frank Sinatra, has 14 recordings in the hall. Several of the 2020 inducted recordings were featured in popular films like Dick Dell's and the Deltones' 1962 hit Miserlou was featured in Quentin Tarantino's 1994 classic Pulp Fiction. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce Miserlou, but you know the song when you hear it. Has that famous guitar riff, and the entire track is instrumental except for the ha 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 sounds. The Stanley Brothers and the Clinch Mountain Boys, I'm a Man of Constant Sorrow. I am a man of constant sorrow, was revived in the 2000 Coen Brothers film Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which won the 2001 Grammy for Album of the Year, and that song is literally the only thing I remember about that movie. Elton John's 1972 hit Tiny Dancer was memorably spotlighted in Cameron Crowe's 2000 film Almost Famous. Low-key, Almost Famous turned me on to Elton John. I knew of him as a kid, but he was way before my time, and he is a British white man, so he got no plays in my household growing up. But after watching Almost Famous and hearing Tiny Dancer, I did my research on Sir Elton, and my first thought probably went something like, oh, that Lion King Circle of Life guy. So that wraps up our music news. When we return, we'll get into some music history with Neil Peart.
Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. It's time for some music history. Canadian prog rock trio Rush's Neil Peart is known for his technically demanding and precise rhythmic drumming style. Born in Canada on September 12, 1952, Peart began learning the drums at the age of 13, and by the late 60s, early 70s, he immersed himself into the sounds of such rock drummers as The Who's Keith Moon, ELP's Carl Palmer, Yes, Bill Bruford, and legendary big band drummer Buddy Rich. In the early 70s, the up-and-coming band Rush, who had just wrapped up touring behind their debut album, was looking for a new drummer. Peart was granted a tryout and was immediately asked to join. With Peart now the drummer and lyricist, the band focused on more challenging material. Rush's new musical direction wasn't initially well received, with 1974's Fly By Night and 1975's Caress of Steel, but the band forged on and struck gold with the 1976 concept album 2112. The record tells the story of a young man's fight against a future world where rock music was outlawed. Rush's commercial success continued as the band composed more heavy metal tinged prog rock classics, 1977's A Farewell to Kings, 1978's Hemispheres, 1980's Permanent Waves, and 1981's Moving Pictures. As the band continued to sell out arenas and make hit records, Peart's influence on rock drummers became immense. Peart added author to his title when he penned the books Radiance Over the Rockies and Masked Rider. Peart dealt with two devastating blows in his personal life, the tragic deaths of both his teenage daughter and wife, a year apart from each other. In a January 2018 interview, it was revealed that the band would no longer make music after 41 years of creating. January 7th, 2020, Peart passed away after spending 3.5 years battling with brain cancer. Now, I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't know anything about Neil until he passed. I saw the impact his passing had with friends. I've looked up some of his drum solos, and dude was a beast. He didn't have the standard amount of drums. Dude was beating on like 30 drums, maybe even more. I mean, there was a lot going on, and he was getting it. Now on to our Say What song lyrics. Now these are lyrics we grew up singing and never gave a second thought about what we were singing. But hindsight's 2020, especially with the Me Too and Time's Up movement. Also, culturally, we're more aware of prejudices. And as a society, we are trying to be more inclusive. So looking back at older lyrics can be a jaw-dropping and humorous experience. Now, I got a recommendation for this Say What song lyrics segment. If you have any recommendations, tweet us at GSMC_music. Now let's examine the lyrics from Guy's 1988, Piece of My Heart. The chorus goes, I do love you. You can have a piece of my love. It's waiting for you. Girl, it's true. You can have a piece of my love. It's waiting for you. Girl, it's true. Okay. Based off of this chorus, this is a sweet love song. A man is offering a piece of his heart. How precious. Let's continue on to the first verse. Baby, you can't have all of me because I'm not totally free. I can't tell you everything that's going on, baby. There's a few things in my past that should not be explained. You trying to serenade me with, oh yeah, but then you tell me I can't have all of you because you ain't totally free? Dude, ain't no such thing as not totally free. Either you free or you ain't. Then you go on and reference your past and tell me it shouldn't be explained? Dude, why did you bring it up then? All right, let's continue on with these lyrics. I'm asking you, baby, be with me for a little while. Please hush, no questions asked. Lay back and relax, girl. I do love you. It's true. All right, be with you a while. Is you taking me out? You whining and dining me or what? Please hush, no questions asked. Is you shushing me, homie? Lay back and relax. So you tell me I can have a piece of your heart, not all of it, just a little piece. Then you tell me to shut up, and now you're demanding that I lay back and relax? I do love you. Girl, it's true. Homie, you is confused on what love is. You just trying to bang. Now kick off your shoes. Lift your pretty head, darling. It's waiting for you. Since we're here now, baby, I'm giving you a piece of me you can have. Well, homie, that piece of me I can have ain't your heart. You just trying to give me that D. I know that this is wrong, but the feeling's so strong. I wish this could last forever, but it wouldn't be the same. Tell me, who would be to blame if we was to hurt all over again? You, homie, you is to blame. in my face with your woo-woo-woos. Please hush. No questions asked. Lay back and relax. I do love you. Oh, so you're going to ask me a question. Who is to blame? I'll try to answer your question and you shush me again and tell me to lay on my back? Okay. So despite the slow instrumental and the R&B's, oh yes, in the chorus singing, I do love you, this ain't no love song. This is a song about a man serenading his side chick. A song about a man who has a girl. He ain't trying to sing about it, nor is he trying to sing to his actual girl. Instead, he's trying to woo his way into giving some vitamin D and telling the girl to shut up in the process. How sweet R&B in 1988 was. It was so romantical. Now, if you have a say what song lyric, please tweet us at GSMC_music, and you just may hear the lyrics on the show. I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to our podcast. And if you feel compelled, write a review. Until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.